We live in a world brimming with distractions. Our phones buzz constantly, the news pulls us in every direction, and even our thoughts seem to be racing, jumping from one thing to the next. It can feel like happiness is always just out of reach, as though it is something external we need to chase, something that will finally fall into our laps when the right conditions are met. But if you stop for a moment and think about it, does happiness really come from external circumstances? Or is it something deeper, something we cultivate from within? Dalai Lama once said, "Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions." This profound insight points us to an important truth. Happiness isn't something we can just stumble upon or wait for. It is something we actively create. But in a world full of distractions, how do we find the peace necessary to create this happiness? If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the noise of modern life or wondered why, despite all the comforts around you, happiness still seems elusive, you're not alone. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that happiness depends on external achievements, the right job, the right relationship, the right material possessions. But today I invite you to explore a different path, one that leads to peace and contentment through mindfulness. So let's talk about how we can pursue true happiness in a world of distractions. And if this resonates with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel to discover how mindfulness can be the key to unlocking lasting joy, regardless of what's happening around you. In a world that is always on, it can feel impossible to slow down. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we are bombarded with information, expectations, and to-do lists. We're taught that happiness comes from the next big thing, the next promotion, the next vacation, the next achievement. But when we finally reach that next thing, we often find that it's not as fulfilling as we thought it would be. We move on to the next chase, the next distraction. But here's the paradox. The more we chase after these external sources of happiness, the more we distance ourselves from the true source of peace, the present moment. How often do we miss out on the simple joys of life because we so focused on what's ahead? The feel of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter with loved ones, the quiet moments of contentment that we rarely pause to notice. It's as if we're constantly looking ahead, expecting that happiness will finally appear, but it's always just beyond our grasp. What if, instead of constantly chasing happiness, we learned to cultivate it in the here and now? What if we stopped and allowed ourselves to fully experience the present moment, without judgment, without the need for anything to change? This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment, without distraction or judgment. It's about being fully engaged in what's happening right now, whether that's having a conversation, enjoying a meal, or simply breathing. In many ways, mindfulness is the antidote to the chaos of modern life. It invites us to step away from the constant pull of distractions and focus on what is truly important. And in doing so, it opens the door to a deeper sense of happiness. A happiness that doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on our ability to find contentment in the present moment. You might be wondering, how can we embrace mindfulness in a world that is so demanding and fast-paced? It seems like an impossible task to be fully present when we're constantly juggling work, family, social obligations, and everything else. But here is the thing. Mindfulness isn't about having hours of free time to meditate or retreat from the world. It's about finding small moments throughout the day to pause and reconnect with the present. It could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths before responding to an email, noticing the feel of the ground beneath your feet as you walk, or appreciating the taste of your food without distractions. These small moments of mindfulness can have a profound impact on your overall sense of peace. And what is beautiful about mindfulness is that it doesn't require any special equipment or advanced training. It's something we all have access to at any time. The only requirement is the willingness to be present, to stop and really see what's in front of us. Mindfulness also teaches us something powerful about our emotions. In a world where we often feel pressured to suppress or manage our feelings, mindfulness invites us to experience them fully, without judgment. It encourages us to sit with discomfort, to acknowledge pain or frustration, but also to recognize that these emotions don't define us. In fact, mindfulness helps us understand that our emotions, like everything else, are transient. they come and go. And when we stop trying to avoid them or control them, we can experience them with more freedom and less fear. Think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to truly feel your emotions without rushing to fix them? When was the last time you sat with sadness or frustration without trying to escape it? This practice of acceptance is at the heart of mindfulness, and it is through this acceptance that we can find peace, even in difficult moments. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds good in theory, but how do I start? How do I begin to create a life of mindfulness and contentment when I feel so overwhelmed? The first step is to recognize that mindfulness is a practice. Like any skill, it takes time and patience to develop. Don't expect to be perfect right away. Start small. Start by setting aside just a few minutes each day to practice mindfulness. It could be during your morning coffee, while you're walking outside, or even as you're washing dishes. The key is consistency. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to bring mindfulness into all aspects of your life. And over time, you'll start to notice that your sense of happiness isn't dependent on external circumstances. It comes from your ability to be present, to be at peace with what is, and to embrace each moment as it comes. So as we wrap up this reflection, I want to leave you with one final thought. Happiness isn't something we need to search for in the future. It is something we can create right now. The path to true contentment lies not in the pursuit of more, but in the cultivation of presence, mindfulness, and acceptance. If you found yourself reflecting on these ideas, I encourage you to take a moment and ask, how can I bring more mindfulness into my life today? What small action can you take to reconnect with the present moment and begin cultivating happiness from within? If this video resonated with you, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next chapter of this journey. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you practice mindfulness in your own life? I'd love to hear your reflections. Until next time, may your journey be filled with peace, presence, and authentic joy.